Okay, we definitely, that's not gonna be in it. Don't worry. Yeah, I just want to.
She's great. She's amazing. I can't.
Awesome.
I remember when she started out and she was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, if they're gonna like me," and I'm like,
Yeah.
just keep quiet, just do your job."
Yeah.
And then she's now number one.
That's awesome. No, we'll do an intro later on. It's all right. We'll do it afterwards. So Devon, chat to me. What have you been up to recently? Where have you been traveling? What's been going on in your life?
So I think the world, I mean, just being so small now for me with Dartboard Maths, which is one of the products that I've created from almost an idea just to help kids how to attend to maths problems and equations from the grassroots level up, and then also the International Dart School League,
Yes.
which is launched in 18 countries with 20 qualifiers as part of a IDSL Championship Roadshow. We got places as like India. We have an event in Belgium. We had our South African qualifiers where two of the players came through, which was Caleb Cockrell and Kazimla Kala in Kabeja. And you look at all of those things that keep me busy besides playing in the modus and competing and practicing and wanting to be part of the sport still, not just on an admin or business development side, but also as a competing professional. I think with the injury that I picked up, it allowed me to almost take stock of what I was doing, as a player, and because my focus was, I'm kind of like very much obsessed with achieving greatness within a sporting code or something that I focus on, for example, and I think that a lot of the things that I've journeyed on has always gone to a completion and then gone the next step. So I mean that's kind of me in a nutshell so far, and just traveling everywhere. So I've been probably 7 or 8 countries already, with another 5 to come in the next month. We're setting up now, and I'm going to go to Denmark, Scotland, USA, loads of places.
Awesome.
It's crazy. Like when I look at my diary and I just see like it's lined fully, and then because the gaps that I have in there is obviously me traveling back, then you have to change suitcases, and then like coming to South Africa, I just changed my suitcase, landed the morning, changed my suitcase, and then had a flight 5 a.m. the next morning. So it's a quick turnaround. Having young kids is tough, but I mean it's what you have to do to kind of get everything.
Yeah, 100%. And that injury you touched on there, what was the injury? Just because I you can't really imagine a darts player taking too many injuries, not a much contact sport, maybe dart to the head on grass.
No, I think a lot of people didn't know that at the time, but back end of 2020, in my peak, I experienced there was the tendons in my wrist, obviously connected to these 2 fingers, was injured and needed either operation or full rehabilitation, but I opted for neither. And then I thought that I could brave it out. But I mean, the one thing, because of coming through COVID, I spent a lot of time on the dartboard. So it was, instead of just 3 or 4 hours a day, it was now 7-8 hours a day on a dartboard. So that repetitive use, because there was really nothing to do, you couldn't really go out to do anything, and kind of picked it up there. And then I started relaxing on the practice, but the damage was already done. But I was playing at the very best at the time. And then, I was supposed to go see some doctors. We did some virtual meetings, and they said, well, just do this until we can see you. I quickly then, 2021 came through, and then I could really feel the pain coming through solid. Every time I released the dart, there was pain, like as if somebody was cutting on the tendons. Started using a lot of painkillers to kind of numb the pain and just get through the games. 2021, 2022 was kind of where I started just participating, not competing, just maintaining kind of what I built up. And then, 2023 came off the tour, and then I could do the rehabilitation. But it's given me a lot of opportunity to kind of just relook or review what the journey has been, what I've achieved. Because a lot of time as a sportsman, you don't look at what you've achieved. It's all
always
about
looking to the next thing.
Next one, where I want to achieve the next. I want to achieve the goals. And when I had the injury, the one thing as a dart player, you don't tell anybody about anything like that, because that's like blood in the water.
Yeah.
There's a fear factor that's removed. At the time, I was the biggest 180 hitter. But nobody knew that I had an injury. So when I was throwing these 180s, and I was not surprising myself, but just kind of getting through games with players almost waiting in anticipation for me to turn into this beast. And then sometimes you show glimpses of it, people lose their mind, and then they kind of get distracted. When you start speaking about, I got an injury, people know that, okay, cool, there's a weakness. And I think in our sport, I mean, whatever small weaknesses there is, it's picked up and it's attacked. So yeah, I made sure that nobody knew about it until I left the tour. And then people started picking up on it, and then there was a lot of interviews. But I never wanted to make that part of my journey and saying, the reason why I'm losing is because of an injury.
Yeah.
It's just because I can't apply myself as perfectly as I want to do. But yeah, I think that everything is healed now. Now it's back to almost relearning how I used to throw. The mentality and the confidence and all of those things still there. I can still step up onto a hockey and feel like I'm the champ. But when you release that first dart and it doesn't go like how you want it to go, then you quickly have to change the way in which you see things and perform. My new movement forward within the sport is making sure that I at least have 1 hour a day, every single day, and not invest like 3 or 4 hours like I used to.
Yeah.
And so that because I've been playing the sport for almost 2 decades, you don't need to really practice as hard because you understand exactly what to do. And this is where they talk about you can't buy experience. I'm living that now, because when I won the global championship at the Modus, at the ADC, it was one of that, where I came in, I had a week to prepare, and I just thought to myself, well, let me try and just get into a mindset where I'm still feeling comfortable on the stage. And lo and behold, things went my way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I lifted the trophy at the end.
Have you felt that almost overtraining, right, can actually be more negative than positive, opposed to just like you're doing now, taking an hour to it every day, opposed to 3-4 hours? Because I know there are a lot of cricketers that do that now, where they don't hit 10,000 balls a week. They'll go a week before match day and just have like some throwdowns, and they find that gives them a better mental edge opposed to that tons of training.
Yeah, I think exactly that. I think my position and what I wanted to achieve at that time was to make sure that the technique was sound. The technique was something that wasn't flawed. And me stepping up to the hockey, I felt like I needed to put in that practice. It wasn't an over practice. It was more like correct. Because the one thing that people actually don't take into account is me leaving South Africa to go play on the pro tour. I only know what South Africa and the level that South Africa plays at. And that is leaps and bounds. I mean, on the pro tour, it's a different level. So I had to practically become a professional on the fly. You kind of go, yeah, he's achieved his tour card. That's the first win, and people celebrate the tour card. I'm like, yeah, you got the tour card. Now you're on the tour.
Now it starts.
Now it's actually like, you know what I mean? You actually don't understand how tough it is, because you're playing against players that are not missing trebles. They're throwing 110 average. Now you have to compete against that. And the thing is that means that when they're throwing 110 averages, there's less mistakes. It's constantly 14 darts and less, so it's 5 turns every time you go. All of these things, and you quickly question yourself, like, am I able to achieve greatness? Is this maybe a step too far for me? Is it too early? And yeah, I had to learn on the fly and quickly just understood, like, regardless of what happens, as long as I'm learning, as I'm playing the game, I'm going to get better all the time. And luckily for me, I managed to maintain my tour card for a decade and a half. And it's fun. It was great. It's not the end of the journey for me, because I still feel like I still have a few more years on the tour itself, which I'm going to obviously put in time now to get to the tour next year. But I feel as though like there's that burning feeling still, that hunger to achieve. And whilst you still have that, I mean, there's nothing in the world that can stop you from believing that you can achieve.
Beautiful, yeah. And Devon, I want to take it back. Where did it all start? Because, I mean, we were saying before we started recording, I mean, darts in South Africa is such a niche niche sport. Where did it all start for you? Where did you find your passion for darts?
My dad, so George Petersen, he played, and the family played obviously for many years. My dad started when he was young, like 13. His eldest brother had a team, and they were all just kind of like a full family team, and they played continuously. And then, yeah, in our family with all the cousins and the get-togethers, instead of kicking a ball outside, we would go to somebody's room or the garage, and you kind of playing darts at that point. And then you almost want to elevate, because now darts has no boundaries. So I can compete against my eldest brother. If it was rugby, I'm not going to be stand a chance, because he'll just waft me away like a carrier bag. You know what I mean? But now when you're playing darts, it's very different. It's high skill, accuracy, and everybody has the same kind of, there's no barriers really. And yeah, I think that I quickly got the hand and eye coordination and understood the dynamics from an early age, but not putting it into almost a analytical perspective, but just understood that I'm not throwing the dart's actually floating to the target. So then it changes the way in which you throw and all of those things. And yeah, quickly I started. My dad said that I had to finish my grade 12 and then I could play like in the league, because then it would mean that the league currently is kind of, you play late nights in the week, so it's not great for school kids and all of those things. Yeah. So then finished matric, went to go play first events, and then I quickly got the hang of it. And like I said before, the analytical side of me and wanting to achieve greatness. I told my dad that I wanted to be a pro tier player within 3 years, and I achieved that. And then quickly got to the number one in Africa, won the prestigious titles on the continent. And then when I completed that, the space was about 5 years, right? And when you look at it now, it almost seems mythological. Like, how do you go from not playing the sport to becoming a pro in 5 years and still the only pro for the last 15? It now becomes like, what happened? What was the reason? And you look at it as in the fear of failure. I don't have any fear of failure. So if I'm going to do something, I know it's hard work, so I can do that. That's easy. But the one thing that not everybody has is that inner belief that I'm not going to fail. Even to everybody as they perceive it as a failure, for example, if it's not the success you want, it's moving forward in that. And I think that was I was failing forward all the time, even in the sport itself. Because if you look at the game of darts, I mean, the accuracy level that you need to have, nobody's perfect. You'll throw a perfect game once in a while on stage or at an event. So that's every single other time, because we are targeting the treble 20, but you're not hitting it all the time. So you're missing more than you hit. So the mindset anyways is of failure, is failing forward. And when you come off that and you've won the game, you've actually won it with say for example, we talk a lot about percentages. So if you're hitting one treble out of 3 darts, that's a 33% out of 100. In normal academic terms, that's a failure.
Yeah.
But you can win with a 33%. So the sport of dart taught me a lot of those elements. And I think that from a young age, my dad just made sure that if you want to play this game at the highest level, you have to practice. And I think that instilling that kind of hard work and that ethic and almost discipline is what got me through.
And was there any particular moment that you realized, like, this is my gift? Is there any moment you can put your hand on where you, I don't know, maybe hit a 180? This is my calling.
It's not so much the first 180, because that happens and then people go, I threw 180, and then you'll throw a few in a year. And then my focus, so my dad, so he's quite, I'm not gonna say he's strict though. My dad's great, right? And his way in which he coaches a very critical way. So he'll tell you, listen, you have to do this, and only until you've done that are you almost classed as you can compete.
Yeah.
So when I started hitting back-to-back tons and 140s and remain consistent and not moving ones and fives, then I knew I had something. Because then I was starting to work on, where's my elbow height? What's my shoulder doing? My body placement. Now I'm becoming analytical at the age of 17. So when you're looking at 17, and now I'm starting to progress, and now next year I'm going to start playing. Now I start playing, throwing 180s. I think my first year I got player of the year, which was remarkable anyways.
Yeah.
And I think back of that now, and I go, maybe that was the click for me is where my dad said, you have to be consistent. I don't want to see you on 80s all the time. That's not what's going to make you a great player. It's the consistency. Don't throw ones and fives. Stay straight, even if you must throw the big 20. And in that sense, you go like, it makes so much sense, because in any sport, the individual, the player, there's a simple game and there's an expansive game. Like when you play golf, every amateur wants to do the money shot, the Tiger Woods shot that's going to flop over and land. And
flop over the 60-meter oak tree.
And just
flop opportunity.
Correct, yeah. And that's the thing, is those moments that we love. And my dad early kind of just killed that for me and just said, listen, you just be consistent and you'll be great. And I think I made it simple. I made the game simple in the beginning, and that's what gave me the success.
Yeah. And am I correct in saying are you still the only professional darts player in Africa?
So at this point in time, still classed or titled as, I don't play on the pro tour anymore, but still darts is the basis of my profession, if you must call it that. So yes, on that, we did have another player that came through, which is Devon Petersen, a fantastic, amazing player from the Boland region. He stayed on tour for 6 months, and then he came back because it was too tough. So yeah, I mean, he was the other player that actually got the tour card but never completed the race, because it's actually a 2-year tour card, and then after that you have to kind of defend your money and stay on the tour, and that's what makes it difficult, because if you're not achieving on the tour, you don't stay on there very long. Yeah.
And what does it mean to you to be that trailblazer? I've seen people call you the trailblazer of darts in Africa.
I think it comes with a lot of not just responsibility, but a lot of positive and negative. So from people that actually want to see you succeed, there's a lot of positive, there's a lot of support. The negative is people always see you as, why does he always get the opportunity? But they don't ask how much work do you put in. When you're the trailblazer, you're the one that carries everything. Whether the country succeeds, they look out for your results. So if your results is great, everybody supports and claps. When your results is not great, there's nobody there. So you're kind of alone, and only your immediate circle is there to support you and pick you up. As a sportsman, it's lonely when it's not going great, when the confidence is low, when the self-belief will remain, but it's also the reality that sinks in and goes like, listen, you're going to have to now. I mean, there's been many a times where the form hasn't, like, let's say there's 5 events that I've played, and you maybe not picking up any results because you get in the tough draws all the time, and you're getting to the 6-4s and 6-5s, but you're not just getting over the line. And then you have to question, like, am I worthy? Am I all of these things? And it goes through every player's mind. And I think that for me is a big part of why I do what I do, because I know that I'm living the dream of many African dart players. And not having that platform was the reason why we established the African Darts Group, is so that we can create that platform so that our players can actually get the experience before they go there. Because you can't learn on the job. It's almost like, for example, we watched the F1 yesterday, and somebody wants to be an F1 racer. You can't learn on that job. You must either know you can control a car with 300 kilometers an hour, or you're going to have to start at the go-karts. Yeah. So what we're basically doing is setting up that go-kart level so that you build up. So by the time you get to the Formula One, which is the Pro Tour, you're going to be able to race and compete. We don't just want to participate. We don't just want the African flag or South African flag to be there and go, Devon Petersen in the tournament, Devon Petersen out the tournament.
Yeah, you want to dominate.
Yeah, you wanna perform. And the one thing is I have felt what that feels like. So I want that again. Because in 2020, I'm not going to say I was untouchable, but the biggest 180 scorer, most one prolific 180 hitter at the time, achieving stuff on the tour that hasn't been achieved unless the greats are achieving them. So being in that circle is fantastic. Yeah. And I know I can achieve that. So me putting everything in place to make sure that South Africans and Africans that come after me has that opportunity, and it's not just going to go, okay, cool, Devon was here before, but he's left nothing. I want to make sure that I'm the one that changed the way in which the sport is seen and experienced on the continent.
I want to chat a little bit about that it was 2020, hey, the COVID form that you were in, because I watched a video yesterday. I think you guys were playing Norway. Yeah. I think it might have been, it was a 2024 video.
Yeah, that was now this World Cup. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if have you watched that video where the commentators are chatting about you?
No.
Okay, well, what they say is the one speaking. I'm not too sure who the commentators are, but I think they're the normal darts commentators. And the one says, "Oh well, they're chatting about Devon Petersen in 2020 type thing." And the one guy says, "Yeah, well, he was without a shadow of a doubt top 10 globally." Then the other says, "Top 10 globally. I'll tell you what, he was not far off number 1 globally." And just hearing that, I was quite like, "Wow, that's incredible." What was it? That period of form, was it just a time where everything was clicking, or?
Yeah, I think you they call it the purple vein, right? The purple vein of form, and you understand exactly what that is. And what got me to that form was the constant hours of practicing, the analytical approach, looking at making sure that the throw is repeatable, sustainable, and also understood, because a lot of dart players actually don't know how they became so great, or how they developed their greatness. They stumble upon the greatness because you kind of like feel the form, and then when it's gone, it's gone. I didn't want that. The injury stopped me, which was I think the world wasn't ready for a Devon Petersen dominating the darting world. And now I look at it, I got all that experience, got all that understanding, all that knowledge, and now I'm ready. I mean, that 2020 form, I literally felt like every time I opened up my hand, the dart was going to hit the treble. If it missed, it was like, how did you miss? Yeah, there must be a door open or something, you know what I mean? But I realized very quickly that everybody has that opportunity, because the dynamics doesn't change. The only thing that changes is the understanding. So when you have that understanding and know-how of how to deliver the throw and deliver that technique, anybody can be a champion.
Sure. And you said there, you spoke a little bit earlier about some tough draws. In 2020, were there no tough draws for Devon Petersen?
Zero. I was the guy that came into the room, and I'm the guy that nobody wants to draw at that time.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, cool, Devon's throwing 180s. We're not competing with that 180 count. He's going to be tough. Like in that year, I think I got to the final one of the days in one of the European tour events. Michael van Gerwen won the event the day before. The next day, I got Michael van Gerwen and I beat him 6-0. That was the level.
For anyone that's watching darts, I mean, for anyone that has watched a little bit of darts, you'll know how insane that is. MVG, 6 Zorp.
Yeah, and that
thanks for coming.
So you understand that in that space, even against Gerwen Price, I think I had 3 clear darts to win the game, to win the final. And that would have been my first trophy as well, like first title. But in that period, it was just unstoppable. The scoring power was remarkable. Like some of the days I used to average like 110. One of the semifinals that I lost, I averaged 113. Had shot to win the double a few times, and then I missed it. But you once you get that feeling, it's like everything just amplifies. The size of the treble's bigger. The dartboard looks like it's closer. I'm just opening my hand and it's hitting it. And now I realize that I can actually coach that. I can teach that. Me practicing now, I'm getting to that similar, not same form, but I know exactly how to replicate that. So now that my hand is better, everything is. Yeah. I think that my goal in the next, I think 3 years, I could definitely be back at that level, if not sooner. And it's only because of application. That's it.
And well, that would be. I really hope that happens. It would be awesome to watch. And is it the same thing? So obviously, when you came off of that purple, you call it purple vein.
Yeah.
You said that purple vein of form. Is it the same thing that when stuff starts going badly, all of a sudden that treble is tinier, that double is a single line? Is it?
It's exactly that. And the extremes could not be more accurate, if I must call it that, because one looks like a barn door, the other one is like hair thin, you can't even see it. You're like, I'm sure there's a 32 there somewhere. When you're setting up and you're competing, before, when you're feeling well and the form is great, everything feels amazing. The way you stand, the comfortability, everything. When it's not great, nothing feels comfortable. The shirt you wore last week doesn't feel great. It just, nothing feels comfortable. You feel as though every single player you play against is having the best game of his life. All of those elements. And the mind plays a lot of tricks on you, because the sport allows you to think a lot more in a game. Because your reaction is literally, let's say your throw is 9 seconds long. but your thinking time is like 15, 20 seconds, and then you come again. And you have to maintain confidence, maintain self-belief in that kind of circular hamster wheel that you're on and competing. It's something that is very different, because I'm sure you guys that play cricket, it's reactive. So the ball bounces and you do something without thinking. In our sport, we have so much time to think, it is ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I'm in search of my first 180. I'm in deep search of it. And I'm just speaking on the mental of it, like even I feel like I play very occasionally, but I find like I've had, when I hit treble 20, and then the mind, that last dot I'll throw, it'll take the lamp out. You know what I mean?
And that's easily done. And it's great that you experience that, because the first dot is, it's a no thinker. So it's just, I'm setting up, that's your perfect dot. The second dot is the one that follows the first. The third dot, because it's your last dot, you almost overthink that one. Now you're trying to be perfect. The first dot, you weren't trying to be perfect. You're just trying to throw it accurately. And that's exactly what happens. Now, take what you experience here, right? And amplify that too. You have to compete and do exactly that. And if you don't hit the double, it means that you're not going to eat that week. It might be that you can't pay rent that week. It might be the difference between having steak or just rice, or difference between buying rations of food and kind of rationing it for the next, till you get your next payday.
Yeah.
It's that kind of intensity playing on the tour, because when you turn up on the tour, there's no money for losers. You come there, everybody's on zero. You have to win your first game. So in that room, 64 people leave with a zero that day. Sure. And that's the reality. Like, people look at it and go, fantastic. The top tier guys, they get the seeded draws, and they struggle as well on tour. But when you're playing on stage, it's a very different thing. There's a lot more comfortability. There's guaranteed prize money. But when you're playing, we call it the boneyard, because everybody's there scratching for bones. As soon as you get your first win, you're kind of comfortable, because now you kind of 1,200 pounds in the bank. So you kind of comfortable. Now your next win comes on, your third win, then you know, okay, cool, I'm set for the week now. That's kind of where it's at. If you don't win, then the next day comes, yesterday's performance almost goes, I can't lose today. You're already starting on a negative, because I can't lose today. There's like 3 negatives in it. And that's what it is. Yeah.
And I want to hear a little bit more about Dartboard Maths, that you've obviously program. Could you call it a program?
It is 100%
a program that you've founded and created. Can you tell us a little bit more about what it is, why you got into it, etc.?
So the Dartboard Maths is part of an understanding that the dartboard is all about calculation and numbers, right? And the one thing that the reason why the sport is so unique or niche in our country is because mathematics is not the greatest subject.
Oh yeah, you look at how many people doing maths, lit versus core maths.
100%. Now, when you understand that, now you say there's a game, a sport that needs you to do maths quick arithmetic. Now, when I'm looking at that and I'm going, this is the perfect tool to actually teach kids, because kids learn better whilst playing, or they learn better while it's fun or engaging.
Yeah, 100%.
But you can't introduce it that way. So I designed Dartboard Maths as a introduction to not just mathematics, but also cognitive recall and mental arithmetic, which will teach you maths through movement and simple and quick maths with base of 3 and all of these new things that I've created to make sure that not only just touching on the math side, but also touching on the game side as well within that entry level, like number bonds and all of these things that they use as part of the curriculum is also part of Dartboard Maths. My son, when he started school, he was like 4.5, turning 5, went to school. I'm a very involved parent, so making sure that he's almost okay with numeracy and mathematics and all of those things. So we do all the silly stuff that parents do. So you buy all of these flashcards and all of that. He gets to school, he has to do assessments. Now they do these speed assessments. And this is fundamentally what happens to every child. So if you don't grasp the concept, you actually develop number anxiety.
Yeah, and I had huge number anxiety.
Exactly. And that's because of foundation levels are not correct. Now, what I've done is remove that number anxiety, made it fun. All the answers are on the board itself. And it's literally based by movement. So if we talk about addition, subtraction, the difference about addition and subtraction, it's only a movement to the right and up and a movement to the left and down and all of those things. Now, when you're looking at that, if you can make maths that easy, my son then went from a boy that was achieving 2 and 3 out of 17 in his assessment because he knows what he needs to do, but the number anxiety just cripples him. He's then achieving 17, 15, 16 out of 17. Now he's big touted, okay, no, mathematically he's brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's only because we were able to figure out a way to teach him. Now he's doing the multiplication of 2 and 3 on a dartboard within a minute and a half, 2 minutes of both of them. And we're moving closer to making him so comfortable with maths that he sits in the class. Now he's one of the confident kids in the class, celebrated in the classroom. Before he was a bit more subdued because there's an insecurity, there's a confidence. And what I realized is that he's not the only one. So I then created, obviously, Dartboard Maths, taking all of my expertise, understanding, because mathematically, many dart players are geniuses. Because we understand pattern maths, we understand cognitive recall and all of these things. So, for example, if I said 9 times 19, would you know what the answer is?
No.
Okay, cool. So it's 171, right? And the reason why I know that is because treble 19 on a dartboard is 1 dart, so it's 57. And if I'm throwing all 3, it's 171. So when you start teaching that, we don't think about mathematics anymore. We don't think about it like normal people where you adding 57 plus 57 plus 5. We actually just know it by cognitive recall and mental arithmetic. So that's all in there. Created the first mathematical mascot, which is called Darty the Dartbot. He's got friends like Renambo for subtraction. He's got Dr. McNumber. He's got
Dr. McNumber.
all of these characters, because making it fun and engaging, it then leads into the other project that we launched, which is the International Dart School League. But like every academy that comes to affluent schools, in vulnerable communities like Delft and Mitchell's Plain, those programs don't exist. So now I'm saying, how do I get a turnkey solution to make sure we have more dart players that actually understand the maths? And then by the time they come to be graduating to the IDSL, which is the International Dart School League, when they graduate to that, they don't have to worry about maths. They only focus on technique. So it means that I can get you to a professional level a lot quicker. And then we perfect that level a lot quicker. Instead of me taking 3 years to teach you mathematics on a dartboard and then another 4 years to kind of become an expert.
I wish I'd gotten wind of this for myself. I would have done core maths. I could have been integrating commerce into my degree as well.
And it's great that you say that, because I wasn't actually aware until I started kind of interacting with, for example, education leaders and ministers and all of those, that if you do maths lit, you can't actually go to the university, or the channels. Some of the channels are now closed off.
They're completely closed off, yeah.
And in reality, that's happening more often than not. So that would mean that we're now separating our youth from the ones that can actually can study further, and the ones that can't. And the ones that's their only way out. You're now kind of cutting that short. So I think the product comes in at the right time, number one. But it's not for this generation. We can then obviously rescue, but you won't rescue all.
Yeah.
But if we put this foundation in now, it will mean that we'll have a lot more students coming through that's astute with maths and understanding that numeracy is what's going to get you further on in career and life.
So have you taken Dartboard Maths into the communities like Mitchell's Plain and Delft and seen a great response?
Yeah, so I think predominantly it's endorsed by the World Dart Federation and Professional Dart Players Association. It's in a lot of countries in Europe, in the UK, USA. Its distribution is complete now as well. Africa itself, we have it in a few schools. We've just put it installed in Meridian Pinehurst, which is in Durbanville, managed by Curio. And then we have it in Delft at Rosendale High. More schools like Galvindale in Kabeja. All of these, so we slowly but surely, by the end of this year, our target is to have it in 30 schools with the program and everything else. But not just the program itself, but also the IDSL setup, a fully professional setup, making sure that the kids have what is experienced globally. Because I'm saying that if you look at South Africa now, we're dominating in sport. we're winning everything. If there was a raffle, we win that as well.
Yeah.
Now
we can't
when
be beaten in rugby. We somehow won the World Test Championship. Temba Bavuma.
you know what I mean? Like all of these, like I was watching this morning on as you're scrolling through socials and you just see we won the I think it was the Dance World Cup as well.
Oh, yes, I saw this guy's video.
Yeah. And I'm like, we're winning everything. You got Reino. I mean, I dropped a line to Reino and I was like, so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, he messaged me back and I was like, the world's strongest man is South African.
Yeah.
And he messaged me back. That was like I'm not going to say a fangirl, but I'm like, because there's a world champion in a sport from somebody from your country achieving that, it just inspires so many people. So I'm saying that if I'm going to do anything with my career and be that, like we said earlier on, the trailblazer of Africa, this is my offering to the world. It's proudly South African product. Everything is made in South Africa and we're shipping it out to the world. It's made from a South African. And I want to make sure that it's seen like that, because I feel as though once you were like, that saying, no DNA, just RSA. That's a real thing. Like we turn up, if we play sport, we are the best in that sport. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if we start putting darts into schools right now, I'm saying that we will see more players on tour, number one. Number two is we'll see more successful players. I'll be forgotten because it will be so much success. And I don't mind being forgotten because for me, it will seem as my career was more than just something to me, like a selfish goal for myself. I made sure that every African player had an opportunity and the world knows that Africa is a big player in the sport.
I love the vision. You're definitely an optimist, hey?
No, 100%.
I am as well.
If you told me today that could happen, I am doing it anyways now, but I'm saying that the goal now it was always the belief. The interview was, if I'm the trailblazer, I'm going to knock the door down. Now I'm actually making a direct impact, because we literally, so we had a partnership with Hollywood Foundation. They came on board. They sponsored some of the equipment and things that we're installing in schools now. So we're setting up. So we set up in Galvindale. We set up in Delft. So we painted out the whole room. So we have the Purple Door initiative, which we want to make each school have a purple door. So when they see the purple door, they know that Dartboard Maths and darts is in that room. So we've created that especially in Meridian Pinehurst. We've done it in Delft. And that's a safe space as well, where we partnered up with Beyond Priceless, where they talk about child prostitution and human trafficking and all of those things. So this sport now is not only going to be a base for communities to just compete within a sport, but it's going to be a safe place for kids to come in an environment and a situation like you experienced in Delft. I mean, I'm sure you weren't in Delft yet before, have you? Have you gone to Delft before?
No, I know about Delft.
Yeah, so the circumstances there is crazy. And I'm saying that if we are able to make an impact and a change in a community that is in a situation that they are currently right now, the sport itself can change many communities. So that's where I see it, and we're going to definitely achieve that. And I think very quickly, because the goal is to push out the 30 schools. We already have 4 or 5 schools so far. We have about 500 kids playing in the IDSL currently. And yeah, I think with my goal being 1,000 by the end of this year, next year 2,000, and then take over a whole of Africa in 5 years, and that's the goal.
I love the mindset. I love the vision. Devon Petersen. Now, Devon, onto a more fun side of things. Well, not that that's not fun. That's very fun.
Yeah.
But onto a more funnier side of things. I want to chat a little bit about the funny side of darts. I don't know why Karen repeating funny, but anyway. Yeah. So tell me about, on the darts tour, maybe some insider info. Like, who are your favorite guys to be around, that sort of thing?
I think, so there's many a story. I mean, because we always used to joke, like when you're on tour and you're playing in Europe and you're traveling all these places, it's almost like a lad's holiday all the time. You know what I mean? But professional guys playing on tour. There's some stories I can probably say and some I won't, just for safety purposes.
Yeah, for legal purposes.
But when you, I mean, there's elements of nights out. Just I'm trying to think of which is the most friendly ones. I think like players. If I speak about players, firstly, is like myself and Joe Cullen. So the very first time we actually met was at the World Champs. Joe was playing. I was playing the next night. So I watched Joe's game, and we never knew that we were going to be like from there, like sworn in brothers forever and ever, right? So Joe's helped me through many a challenge in my career, and on that day we shook hands and blah blah blah. Got my tour card. The first night, me and Joe Cullen, so we traveled to Germany, and our manager got the booking wrong. So me and Joe, we don't know each other from a bar of soap, right? We only shook hands, and then I got my tour card, and the next time I saw him was they picked me up at the gas station, took me to accommodation, and then I was staying there, and then we had to travel the next day. Shook hands, okay, cool. Get to the room. It's not 2 single beds. We're sharing a bed. Bearing in mind, Joe Cullen has never met an African before.
Yeah.
This is like, so we're gonna have to top and tail in this double bed in Europe, and it's quite funny. Just I can remember it as if it was yesterday. And he's like, he went downstairs. Listen, I can't share with you. I mean, we don't know each other at all, so I mean that's not even gonna work. Even if we were friends. In the end, we had to share a bed. Put a row of pillows down the middle just to make sure that nobody kind of puts legs over each other and all of those things. And then I remember he was in the shower at the time, right? And this is where I think our bond, the bromance happened. He was in the shower. We had a spicy pizza the night before. I had to run into the shower. I'm like, yo, bro, I need to get in here. And he's like, okay, cool. I mean, we shared a bed already, so you might as well. So while he was showering, I was handling my business, and then that was the bond that kind of brought us together forever. We've had many a nights partying, living life, and traveling the world, and you see the likes like, for example, Johnny Clayton, Chris Dobie, Nathan Aspinall, Michael Smith, everybody kind of, Steve Beaton back in the day when we were all on tour. It's all those friendships that you build and create. Like for you guys, like this would be like a fun element for them. So there will be jokes flying about, nonsense being talked, and kind of banter that you can't really have on camera. But it's that, and that camaraderie does exist. And then there's the professional side where when we're playing against each other on the Aki, I want to rip your head off. So there's a lot of fun things, a lot of fun elements of it. Just the experiences, just experiencing different countries with friends that, people obviously see them as celebrities, but they are normal guys, and good friends.
And favorite of the places you've gone to on tour, favorite place for a night out?
There's a few actually, but I think Hamburg is phenomenal. Frankfurt is great. You could probably go Prague as well. Prague is nice and cheap, but amazing. The nightclubs and just the restaurants there are fantastic.
England doesn't get a shout?
No. Not at all.
A lovely kebab shop after.
The challenge in the UK is the weather. Like nothing great happens when it's raining outside, like it's pissing down and you're like, okay, cool, we need to go out. So you don't want to get into a club being
and then
wet.
wet.
Yeah, it's just not. So I mean, the UK isn't the best place to go out. But I think that when we've been away, I mean, Germany is crazy. And generally now with the sport being so big, everybody knows you in Germany because they know the darts are so big. So you go in there, it's almost like footballers coming in. So they'll know exactly that's where everybody is. So you'll have the cameras out and all of those things, and then you get a security to kind of close off and all of those. But you look at what these guys have achieved and the things that they've done, and just their normal lives is now not normal anymore. And experiencing that fun with them is always great.
And have you ever like walked into a pub and guys having like a darts pub or where there are darts and guys don't know you're a pro player and said, "Yo, let's have a quick game. Put some money on the line."
I mean, I'm sure that especially when there is a dartboard and players are playing, then they will know, especially in the UK. That you're talking about, obviously alluding to a hustling kind of scenario, which we don't do at all. Simply because a lot of people, they do watch, they know a lot of the profile players, especially. But yeah, you don't necessarily go to a lot of pubs in the UK where there is a dartboard, because a dartboard isn't, I mean, you'd have to go into dart playing pubs, you know what I mean? But these days there's not a lot. A lot of the games now is more sports halls and sports centers like we have here. Some of the weekly games are, but I mean, it's varied and yeah, it's not as in demand, even though the sport is so popular, but it's not so much in demand because even the pubs are closing down because the people are finding it more of an expense to go to a pub than, because you can buy the amount of beverages at a Tesco or somewhere else and then have a good night in with friends and have games of darts where you're not going to be bothered. So yeah, I think a lot of people are doing that more often than not now.
Yeah. And who would you say your GOAT is of darts? I know a lot of people have different opinions on on the Mount Rushmore level. You know what I mean?
I think it would be easier to give you 4 people than just one.
Yeah.
Simply because generations are different. So first for me would be Eric Bristow, simply because he built the platform. He made sure that the charismatic characters and all of those things came through, and he was the one that kind of was the trailblazer for that. Then Phil Taylor would obviously be on that Mount Rushmore as well, simply because of his ability. He's just, I mean, some of the results that he achieved, I think he's off the tour for 10 years. The stats still remain as record stats for events. And will it be broken? I mean, it's going to take a long while, and you just know how far in advance he was within the sport. And then you have Michael van Gerwen, which is, I mean, he's the best player in my generation, if you call it that.
And he beat him 6 love as well, so you got to throw
We're not going to say that all the time, but yeah. I mean, that was one of the games. But you look at MVG, he's definitely up there. And then I think for the more immediate, I think there's 2 spots, so we'll cut it in half, where you'll have Luke Littler and Luke Humphries, because Luke Humphries now is young player, dominating, coming through, won loads of trophies in a space where the darts was at its peak. So Phil Taylor never played when the darts was at its peak. He was at his peak. Everybody else was kind of catching on. MVG dominated when Phil Taylor was there. Gary Anderson was playing well. So there was a handful of top players that could compete against MVG. So his pool of players that he was playing against was at the level, but it wasn't like dominating level. But now Luke Humphries and Luke Littler is playing in that space where there's domination happening all around and players turning up. And that's why you see so many multiple players winning different majors. It's not the same. Like Luke Humphries had a dominating season, I think it was 2 years ago, where he won most of the trophies. And
was that before his weight loss?
No, so he's been losing weight for a long time, yeah.
I saw a picture of him beforehand. I was like, and then what he changed to is insane.
Yeah, I think
it was 4 stone or something? That
must have been. Yeah, he was a big boy. And even at that time when he was that big boy and he was playing, he was still a young player. I remember one of the days, and just going back off topic, but going back, he came off one of the games. Luke Humphries, that's the world number 1 now, that won all those trophies, that's made over close to 2 million in prize money already. He wanted to give up because he could not get a win on the tour. So that's how tough it was, and you just have to kind of stick at it. And just speaking about, so I think Luke Littler and Luke Humphries definitely on that Mount Rushmore. Luke Littler for different reasons, because what he's done is phenomenal. I think coming in as a young player, he's opened the door up for more young players and understanding that inspiring and aspiring for young players to aspire to be like him, and inspiring them to kind of put more hours in on the game. And he's also the reason why it's now moved to that next level where we now at the 1 million rand prize money in the World Championships, which is always a dream of Barry Hearn. and he's achieved it.
Do you think he's almost transcended the sport type of thing?
Correct. I mean, before the sport was all about old bald men, fat, drink beer, play in a pub, smoking. That was it. Then MVG came, and then there was an entertainment value. It grew to a more professional level. Luke Humphries came, then it just extended that, and it just got younger. And now when Luke Littler broke through, it literally broke the ceiling. It's like, okay, cool. The sport's for everybody. It's professional. It's from the age of 16 till the age of 60. We are now in a space of achieving greatness regardless of your age. So all of the boundaries that existed before, because now you have one of the youngest players to be number one for such a long time, is currently number one. And then you have Luke Littler, who's the world champion, who's the youngest world champion.
Yeah.
I mean, the sport could not be in a better place.
As an entertainer, I love Gowan Price. Come on! Come on!
He does that strategically, though. It's more to impose himself, because he's not big in stature or just how he's set up. So basically where we find ourselves is with Gowan's Price stature, he's not very tall. So he's not going to be an imposing player. His scoring ability is great, but he wants to make you feel like you're under pressure right now. And when he does that, I mean, players on tour know why he does that now. But we just watch him do it, and you guys, I mean, a lot of players replicate that time of shouting and kind of celebrating, and some players just subdue it and just continue with the game. But I think that it's part and parcel of the entertainment factor. It gets the crowd hype, it gets everybody else hype, and it just kind of brings a lot more out of Gowan Price.
And just before we wrap up, your entertainment factor, the walk-on. Chat to me about where that originated from. You're a big entertainer, got the dance moves going. What you get the snake going, the cobra. Do you get that from WWE?
No.
You know that guy, the cobra.
So back in the day, obviously clubbing and all of those things in the scene, the circles are made, and you're kind of enjoying with the boys and party friends and all of those. And body popping and all of that was just funny stuff they used to do. Then the one day I got to the Worlds, and the dancers was rehearsing, and me being me, said hello to everybody, and then they were dancing in this mirror, and then I done some body popping. At that same time, the producer walked by and he says, "Can you do that on stage with them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." They said, "This will be cool." And when I done it on stage, it was a massive favorite. Like now I feel almost like it's a circus now, because now when I come up, you don't actually see people's faces. Everybody just got their camera up and just waiting for you to dance. So. But it's something that is I use it as a coping mechanism as well, because when you're going up stage, there's a lot of anxiousness, there's a lot of thought processing, there's a lot of just a high energy adrenaline pumping, and that dance move and getting all of the crowd shouting and everything, that almost releases that, so that when I approach the game, it's more of a, okay, cool, you calm now, everything is chilled out, you're ready to compete. So that's almost like it's fun, it's part and parcel of what the African warrior is, and just bringing that fun side to the sport, but it's also an easy coping mechanism that helps me to get through games and position myself correctly for matchups.
Awesome. And my final question is, what's next for Devon Petersen?
The big thing now for me is developing the IDSL to be the program for under 18s to graduate, to become the professional and be on that pathway. Also in deploying the Dartboard Maths into every school, not only on the continent but globally. I know every school is audacious and it's massive, but I think that once it really becomes the go-to mechanism for fun, engaging mathematical tool to use in class, along with an interactive, I want Dartboard Maths to be that, because literally it's the most popular sport on the planet right now, and I think that we have a space in the classroom simply because of the adaptability of the sport. And yeah, 2026, I'm gunning for that Q school spot, because I feel as though, because we don't have any representation on the pro tour, it's sad.
It is
that we don't have any representation. When a sport is thriving as much as it is on the continent now, moving in the space that we do have it, it's at a point where we can actually deliver and be really in a framework where we can have more representation, but somebody has to be there. And me being the guy that has been there for a long time, I want to be back there and do my country proud and do the continent proud.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Devon. I love your attitude, your outlook on life as an optimist. It's been awesome to have you on. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Rupert.
Cheers.
I appreciate it.
Great. Sorry.